because they're thinking of themselves instead of the customer. So that customer, if they have to swipe more than one time, they're getting hit from their bank and some bank fees. Here in South Florida, we have a lot of international people. And where it's different over there compared to here is, let's say your daily limit is $500. Well, the US bank doesn't care if you do 10 transactions to get to that amount, where in a lot of foreign banks, they limit the number of transactions. So if somebody puts their card in, they accidentally hit savings and it gets denied, and then they check their balance and then they take out money, they're done for the day. They can't take out money again until the next day. And if they're limited to how much they can take out, they can actually be in trouble and not have enough money on them. So that's what we explain to the hotels when they're like, oh, why is it on percentage? And we tell them, we're actually doing your customer a favor. 90% of your customers are going to take $100 or less, and it's not going to affect them. This is the service to 10%.
Well, let's be honest now. The percentages work the best, as I say, me and Rob say, where bad decisions are being made.
100%. we do bars and nightclubs at hotels. That's primarily where we do.
Yeah, but in the strip clubs, the nightclubs, at 2 a.m, you see a lot of those. So if that's a place where a lot of bad decisions are made at 2 a.m, that's a place for percentage. Don't even think of that. You know?
So we don't have those. For most of our portfolio, what I've seen is that the tattoo places, the transient, like what you're talking about is a lot of transient. So the percentage works on transient locations, the hotels, the strip clubs, the not, and for more of a day-to-day tattoo place, because they're going to come in, they're going to use the ATM, and you're not going to see them again for months. Neighborhood bar.
It depends on the tattoo place. If the tattoo place is on Bourbon Street, the percentage of that work.
Okay.
So I've had tattoo places that are going through 30,000 a week. So you're right, it does depend.
Right, it does work on those places, but if you're going to put a percentage on a neighborhood bar or neighborhood convenience store, that guy's going to be on the horn right away calling you, we'll take this stuff up. So you got to be selective where you're going to go. But what I found out is the transient places, you think transient, boom, that's your bag for a percentage, and it works every time, like these gentlemen have said. The only challenge is how much they can take out. So sometimes if you put the limit $500, $800, and their bank denies them because, a bank only wants, at least US bank, most of them, only put a $500 limit on you, then you get denied. So sometimes because you do that, you open it up to $800, you'll get some more denials. The store owner or the tattoo guy or the hotel might call you and say, hey, there's a problem with the ATM. There's not a problem, it's their bank telling them no because it's too much over the daily limit. So just be aware of that when you do that.
And then, I'm sorry, one more thing and then we'll move on, but like George will tell you, like New York, South Florida, we have a lot of international again. So remember, you have DCC.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get, even if you're putting the percentage at 3%, right? You're gonna get $24 on a surcharge.
Even on the Canadian border.
And then, remember, if you're getting 3% in DCC, which is the average, you're making another $24 on the back end. So we encourage even our merchants to put it out like that because they don't participate typically in the DCC. I've got processing customers that I'm making several $100s a month on in DCC just because I told them to do $800 limits. So you have to start thinking of ways that you can maximize your money in addition to the statement fees and things like that. Same thing goes with, like you were saying earlier, about segmentation. A lot of times we do segmentations and we tell them, it's just like a credit card advance fee. And where I see a lot of people, they'll just put a quarter or 10 cents for segmentation. We do $3 across the board. And people are like, that's crazy. And the truth is, when you put a quarter and a merchant calls you, you have to explain to them why it's a quarter more, they fight you. When it's $3 and you tell them it's like a cash advance fee, they say no every single time, like, oh, okay. Because it's so big that it makes sense that they would be paying a cash advance fee, where if it's small, they think that it's some shenanigans, that you're taking money from them.
Can we explain just to the audience, and obviously the host, but what's DCC, what's segmentation, because you might have some virgins in here, so just explain. Ed, you want to give them like a brief, or Phil, somebody, segmentation, what is that exactly to you? Or you want me to say it's basically you're surcharging an additional surcharge on if they're taking a credit card advance. Some processors offer it.
I think they all do.
They all do it this way.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I just wanted to make sure, and DCC is the currency conversion. Again, it's ATM 101. I don't know what everyone's experience is in this room, but that is instead of Visa or MasterCard getting those conversion fees, you're getting a part of that.
Right. And only on the credit cards.
On the credit card.
Credit card or foreign cards.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, so basically what happens is when someone uses a credit card, there's very little interchange. And when somebody uses a foreign card, there's actually negative interchange. The foreign banks will charge you as opposed to you making money. So the segmentation came about to offset some of those situations. So we just took advantage of it by making it bigger. And it's really, I mean, we went from not doing it, and then when we implemented it, like overnight in the first month, we were starting to do like $2,000 a month just in segmentation. And again, we don't share that as far as when we're doing a split with a merchant. If, let's say you have a location, you're in 50-50 split, we do 50-50 on the base surcharge. So we're not even sharing the percentage. We let them know, like, you're getting 50% of the $3, let's say. The segmentation or the DCC, the percentage, we keep that. So we've had things that are really tight, all of a sudden go from almost not making sense to being some of our best locations with low volume, low risk, low cash inside the machines because of all these other products.
So I want to go back, one thing, I want to go back to percentage. That's the other thing is when you're given, and I don't encourage you to go percentage. I go, when I'm saying percentage split with your ATM, I encourage you to go transaction cost. So even if it's a $3, you're giving them $1.50, don't say percentage. Say, hey, I'll give you $1.50, because now when you do this, you're saying, well, I gave you your $1.50, you're getting a $3 bump. That's 100%, like Sal said, in your pocket. You're doing a percentage. Let's say, George, let's say it was 6%. You're giving them that transaction cost, whatever that transaction cost, all that is revenue in your pocket, and you're not splitting it with them because you gave them per transaction. Mm-hmm. This is all a bump. This is 100% profit for you guys.
Crypto. You do any add-ons? You do any machinery? Phil?
So we do, okay, so the crypto itself, the kiosk, the BTM, you want to call it, we looked at the model. There was some challenges early on with regulation. Do we have to come up with MSB? What's the due diligence? It was a little overwhelming for us in the beginning. So, we just said, and when I talk to friends in the industry and some of you guys are out there in the audience, they're like, look, we started a new company. We got IRS guys coming knocking on the door. I'm like, I don't want any of that. So we stayed away from that. There are some guys, very talented and brilliant guys in this room, who decided that's the way they wanted to go. So we stayed away, but there are programs. Now, did we participate in any of the kiosks? No. We did some of the Just Cash, Liberty X, Be For You. We have participated in those programs. We thought it was a nice little add-on. It wasn't overwhelming to us. And we have participated, and we've made extra incremental revenue from those programs.
How many transactions are you seeing on the Liberty X?
So it's gone, and now in total transparency, it was here during the heyday, when Bitcoin was 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000, and you know what? Now it's really diminished from where it was. And thing I can't wrap my head against, a good friend of me, he was a stockbroker, Phil, he said, I'm going to tell you how to make money. And I said, I can't wait. And he said, he put his arm around me. He says, Phil, this is the surefire way, works every time. And I said, what's that? He goes, buy low, sell high. And he was right? But on Bitcoin, it's the opposite. The higher it goes, the more they buy. The lower it goes, the less they stay away. And I can't figure it out, but that's the truth. So if you're thinking about starting a profitable ATM business but didn't know where to start, stay to the end of the video and I will show you a checklist of how to start your ATM business so you can start off your ATM business the right way and avoid costly mistakes along the way. In this checklist, I will share with you the 5 things you need to know to start your profitable ATM business so you can build a passive income source for you and your family. You'll have a clear roadmap towards ATM business success so you can earn between $250 and $1,500 of passive income every single month. All right, let's get back to the video.
Well, if you can figure it out, you wouldn't be sitting.
I wouldn't be sitting.
Be on a yacht somewhere.
I think, bottom line, the way we've always looked at it, and I think the way that everybody should really start to look at it, we're in the real estate business. We have a 2x2 footprint in all these businesses. Like you were saying earlier, try to get to 100 machines. Once you have this footprint, you have to start thinking about how can I monetize this space? Because with transaction volume going down, interchange going down, merchants wanting more and more, we're the ones that are getting squeezed. And it's getting harder and harder. So as technology comes about, we should be proactive in pushing for these products, whether it's gift cards, but maybe it didn't work out, maybe the next person that comes up with it will, whether it's crypto, whether it's, Venmo at the machines, like Pocketbook. I love all these ideas, digital advertising. The more things that you can do, it doesn't cost you anything. You've already made the capital expenditure to be there, right? So the more you can do to be there and build out that route, as these things come around, you're going to see that you're going to have locations that may not have been profitable, but in the next couple of years, they'll be profitable with these other products. So we just have to wait it out, in my opinion.
I just want to say something on the crypto. I feel because the bank account issue is so precarious, be careful. I would say try to firewall it from your main company. Maybe have a separate entity, but I would not put it in your main business. So if you have all cash and crypto money going, profits going into the same thing, I would say no bueno. So try to, if you're gonna really jump into this business or you're gonna put it on like 1,000 machines, I would try to firewall the crypto profits from your vault cash and ATM profits. That might mean two separate entities. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, just my 2 cents.
So, and all the guys that I talked to who went into the BTM space, every one of them, they set up a new corporation. Some of them put extreme, they put in their wife's name. I'm like, maybe it's an early divorce. I don't know what that's all about, but maybe she's going to come up with an IRS agency. Where's she at? I don't know. But they did start a new corporation. They did that, and I know that we talked about it the other day, George and I, and we said, look, and I told them, I said, look, our bank asked for this. Are you operating, I don't even know where to get this language. I was telling George, it's crazy, but hey, are you operating cryptocurrency on your ATM? Now, if we got a new corporation,
well, somebody's
right. So, you know what? This is this company, this is this company. Theoretically, we're honest with the bank. No, we're not. But you can still do it because it's a different corporation. So you got to keep it separate, and I think that protects yourself, adds that layer of security.
I think in the finance industry, they call it Chinese firewall.
Yeah, okay, that works.
Yeah.
Thank you. Techniques, procedures, subtleties.
Well, I would say the first thing is on the Northeast, we're experiencing uptick in crime. We stood a wonderful bail reform. You can see me later about how I feel about that. Definitely an uptick in crime. It's the same scoundrels keep getting arrested and let go. They're going back to robbing ATMs. Bronx last year, we had about 80, 85 machines as the industry hit, all in like a very short span of time. So think about security. It's going to hurt. Yeah, obviously there's an investment. I would say New York, Washington, obviously Baltimore was always problematic, but I think it's spreading into other cities. And it's an investment. I get it. It costs money. But if you get hit for $30,000 in a location, you just paid for a lot of machines to be secured. So you want to think about that. And also you have to think about the subtleties, not making your machine look like it's a tank in Ukraine. So you want to, if it's in I guess if it's in Baltimore or parts of the Bronx, all right, who cares? But if you have a middle-class supermarket, you can't make that, if you make that machine too ugly, I feel it turns people off. So think about the subtle security efforts without making your machine look like a tank. That's my 2 cents. And the other thing is we have a lot of wall units in New York, space, limitations of space. Wherever we could put a stand-up unit. We have over the last couple of years, and we've definitely seen an uptick in transactions. Obviously, being in New York, space is at a premium. There's a lot of locations we couldn't do that. But if you can get a stand-up unit, or if they remodeled the restaurant or bar or retail, think about trying to get a stand-up unit in there. You will see an uptick in transactions.
So for us, one of the things that I guess subtle differences, we have seen, and it didn't make sense to me, to be honest with you, but let's say we took an 1800 and it was in inner city of Chicago, and we're going to, inner city Chicago, we said, okay, well, let's upgrade, let's get that off the street. We put a brand new Halo or generally a 2500, depending on the location. And what happens is we saw the increase. Now, to me, I didn't think it would matter, but for, I guess, the people in the location, it does. Maybe they thought the machine was more shady or something like that. Even though I thought it was a phenomenal machine, it worked, it's still a workhorse. But we're like, you know what, let's get that off our route, let's put a brand new one in. And we started to see an uptick in brand new. We just, the great state of Illinois, with the infinite wisdom of legislation and the governor, have decided that they're going to go to no cash bail too. So I'm looking forward to January and the season of crime. We're at 18% increase in crime over the last 2 years. And I guess they felt that they was going to brilliant move to do no cash bail to minimize that. So that's what I was hoping. But now I'm hearing horror stories from New York. So maybe that wasn't the best decision.
Maybe we'll bust some guys to Chicago.
We will see what happens. But, protect your guys, change your routes. Don't run the same route. I know we're all creatures of habit, but, maybe run your route forwards one week, in reverse the other week, change it up, look over your shoulders, educate your guys to, if you guys get how many times a guy says, hey, I was going to go in a location, I didn't feel so good, I drove around the block, maybe he had a sandwich and come back and stuff like that. So educate your guys, I'm not worried about time, but I'm worried about security, make sure that you guys are safe. That's the number one thing. I don't ever want to have to call a wife and say, hey, your husband's not coming home.
I've always told my guys, and I urge you to tell your employees, if you feel the store looks sketchy, or there's too many guys hanging out in front, or whatever, they don't have a good vibe about it, and they call you up like, hey, I didn't get to fill up that machine, I'm probably gonna go later. Don't give your guy a hard time. That's all I gotta say. Because you're not there on the ground, or if you are, maybe you happen to be there at the right time, but if they're getting a bad feeling about it, just be cool about it. That's what I'm saying.
So if you're interested in starting your own ATM business, I want to invite you to my free checklist entitled the ATM Business Passive Income Checklist, where I'll share with you the top 5 things you need to start a profitable ATM business so you can make more money for your family, spend more time with your family, and create that passive income stream that you so desire. So click the link down below to register today. Again, this is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and the ATM Mastermind group page, where we buy your freedom back one transaction at a time. Thank you guys very much.